I have got one of the coolest interviews for you today with the founder of a really, really cool emerging brand. You're not going to want to miss this one.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
Hey, everybody, I'm welcoming Bennett Maxwell. We've got the real estate investor, solar industry business owner, and then he decided to get into this crazy thing called retail food with his emerging brand that he started with Dirty Dough. So welcome, Bennett. Thanks for being on the show with me.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Don.
So, you guys have had just crazy rocket ship growth. So I don't know if you want to add anything to the intro here before I start hammering you with questions, but tell us a little bit about the meteoric growth that you guys have had.
Yes, I mean, it's a Dirty Dough is a food franchise cookie business. And when I was running my solar business, I saw this company and it was a single store location. And I decided, anyways, they were trying to sell it. So I looked at it and I'm like, I've never been in food, never been in franchising. I don't even live in the same state. But if I can buy this and make it so simple that somebody without food experience, without franchising experience, that lives out of state, if I can run it remotely, then man, isn't that a simple and good model? So
Awesome.
I bought an existing small business with the intention of taking it to 1,000+ stores.
All right. Well, you just answered one of my questions. Let's build on that because I was going to ask you, what was your vision when you first started? So you've had a vision of 1,000 stores. What kind of time frame? Because we're going to talk about where you are right now after a year. But how long did you think it was going to take you to get to 1,000?
I don't know if I said a timeline before. It was nice going into it rather than, I think most franchises probably get started on, let me try out a concept. And if the concept goes well, then maybe I should expand to another location. If that goes well, maybe I should franchise 1 or 2 locations. We went directly to 1,000, right? Like in my mind, we're going to 1,000. So if it doesn't work for 1,000, then it's not going to work for 5, even though maybe I have something I could plug in, a Band-Aid that'll work for, up to 50 locations. I'm not going to use that because I need to set up the infrastructure for 1,000 locations. Our goal right now is at the end of 2026. So we've sold 200 already. So I think we'll do it. I think we're going to hit it in just under 5 years. I think we'll have 1,000 stores open in operation in conjunction with 1,000 wellness rooms, which is the nonprofit side of things.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Dirty Dough, the branding, I really tied it into mental health. Dirty Dough means the dough is dirty. So that means we have more mix-ins, more fillings. We have 2-layer cookies, 3-layer cookies. What is a 3-layer cookie? You look at the cookie, it looks like a chocolate cookie. You break it open, then there's a chocolate chip cookie. And in the very center, there's caramel, right? So that's a 3-layer cookie, very unique. And then the message behind that is the inside matters most. We're fighting against the stigma of Instagram, that Instagram creates and social media creates of, look at me, I have a perfect life, right? Well, no, you don't. You're just only posting the perfect things. And that's not what matters in life, right? It doesn't matter how we appear. It doesn't matter what we look like. It matters who we are, what our happiness level is at, what our fulfillment level is at. Those are the important things. So you walk into a Dirty Dough, you'll see what's on the inside matters most. And the packaging, the box, one of them says, life gets messy and that's okay. And another one says perfectly imperfect. And then you see, in all the stores on the windows, it'll say, we care about your feelings, right? The little things like that. But
I think it's a dentist office.
That's the message that we give off. So
is that, do you think that's part of your meteoric growth? Are your franchisees really buying into that deeper purpose?
I think a lot of them like it. I don't think that's the reason why people invest a few $100,000 into a business though. And that's not why I did it either. I did it because that's what I believe in. So what a wellness center is taking it a step further and like, how do we actually put our money where our mouth is and make a difference in the world? Well, these wellness centers are popping up all throughout the country in every state. And it's an old classroom that you convert into a mental wellness center. And our wellness centers are going to be targeting the population that I consider is not being targeted for mental health. Right now, mental health, you think anxiety, you think depression.
Yeah.
That's not mental health. That's mental health illness. Just like physical health isn't diabetes and fat people, right? That's if you're physically
Yeah.
unfit.
Yeah.
So I'm targeting the people like myself that haven't gone through a depressive episode or haven't been diagnosed with anxiety, but I still see a therapist and I have for over a year, right? I'm being proactive with it because I want to stay on top of my mindset. So
Catching it, yeah, in
that's what
advance.
these wellness centers are. How do you change your physiological state through breathing? How do you change your posture to change how you feel? How do you become present immediately through guided meditation, right? What is therapy? When should you see a therapist? Why do you do, all of these? It's an education of being proactive, just like we need to work on our physical health every week, if not daily. We need to be doing the same thing with our mental health. So that's my big focus on the business. And it just happened to tie in really well with
Yeah.
the branding, especially because our competition, Crumble, is the Instagram cookie, right? They're the ones that you have to look pretty. It has to look pink. It has to be perfect. It's like, well, guess what? That's not how life is, right? Life is messy, kicks you in the teeth,
I don't know
but
what you're talking.
take,
I don't know what you're talking about.
take a bite of one of these cookies and you'll see that it can still be enjoyed, right? Even if it's messy, even if it's a little dirty and ugly, man, there's still a good sweetness inside.
So I share with you what our target audience is. So the next thing I wanted to chat about is more for other people that are thinking
Okay.
about turning their brand into a franchise, or they already are emerging brands owners and they've launched. So what's been your greatest challenge? And did you anticipate that? Or have you had any surprises?
Um, Greatest challenge. I don't know if one particularly stands up, but our model is we took the cookie model and what everyone else is doing, which you order your own ingredients, you hire your own teenagers, you mix 65 cookies in a 40-quart mixer, then you bust out the scale and weigh little pieces of dough at a time till it weighs just right. Then you're gonna form it by hand. Um, I mean, high waste, high labor, high cost of goods. Okay, well, how do we fix those issues? Well, how about we order all of our ingredients to one spot? If we do, then there goes the need for Cisco, right? We don't need a third-party vendor anymore. We can go directly to the flour manufacturer. And guess what? They're going to give me a discount because rather than buying 50-pound sacks of flour, I'm going to buy a truckload. So now my cost of goods have gone down. Then I'm going to mix it 1,500 cookies at a time rather than 65 cookies at a time. Two things happen there. My labor goes down while my quality control goes up. Then I'm going to use a professional baker rather than a teenager, right? Because I can do that. I can afford a few professional bakers because I'm banking on that they're not going to mess up the batch and we're, again, lower waste. Okay. And then rather than weighing them all by hand, I throw them in a machine and that makes a 3-layer cookie, a stuffed cookie, which not only gives us higher quality control and all of that, but it also gives us a more unique product. You cannot make these cookies by hand. Nobody's ever done it. You can't do it at scale. So a cookie's a cookie, but I want to make my product a differentiator in the market for my franchisees. So we're investing heavily into this. And because our franchise sales have been going well, we just ordered another $1 million worth of equipment because now we can get more specialized cookies and stuffed churro cookies and pie cookies, open face cookie, all these different unique things. But as far as to come back to your question, what are the challenges? All of that was a challenge, right? So there's the vision. The vision is to make it so simple for our franchisees, right? But in return, that means we have to go build a facility. That means we have to hire our own production team. We have to go buy equipment. Then we have to ship the equipment. All the cookie pucks, right? So now we have to have a logistics company. So all of that, it's just more work, right? Than we've expected. But man, I'm definitely glad that we made the investment up front to do that because it's paying off big time in our ability to sell franchises, to open up franchises, to have quality control across the board. So I don't know if I'm pinpointing one problem, but like we've had issues with our production, right? We've had a truck breakdown. We've had these little things. It's just you just roll with it, right? You learn from it, go to the next thing.
Yep. Now, have you? Now, I know you've put a really all-star team of people around you with franchise experience. I tell people that I tell people in the franchise, coming into the franchise industry, you need to get people with franchise help on your team. I tell people who are buying franchises all the time, you want to look for their leadership teams. Do they have their industry experience? Do they have franchise experience? So tell me about how you kind of put your, because you and I know each other through a mastermind group. Tell us a little bit about how you put your all-star team together.
So it started with an advisory board. I got a guy to be our senior advisor that taught me about advisory boards. So I sold him on why he should be our senior advisor. John Richards is his name. Probably the most prolific, well-known angel investor in the state of Utah, because he had a company that he took public called InfoSpace. At its peak, it was valued at over $30 billion. Then he brings on, okay, well, now we need other advisors as well. Then he brings on Steve Hart, who owns Property Management Inc. It's the largest property management franchise. Then we brought on Jill, who's our CEO. Jill did Maui Wowie Smoothies and Coffee. It was the first ever mobile franchise to exist worldwide in 1983. She grew it to just under 700 locations, sold it, started a franchise development company, took on another company, 0 to 90 in a few years. She came on with us full-time in December. Then I had to get an all-star production guy, right? He took another company 0 to 70 million in 2 years in the food space. So he looked at cookies. He's running 260,000 square feet with 1 million SKUs. I was like, dude, can you come do some cookies? He's like, yeah, no problem. Same thing with logistics, right? Now I need a logistics company. So rather than trying to figure it out myself, I went and hired somebody who just sold their logistics business. They shipped 50 million in goods last year, right? Awesome. So it was just kind of going that. And we actually just got another really good hire. He was the global director of operations for Domino's, and then the COO of a company called Costa Vida and CEO of a company called Swig. And he just came on with us like 3 weeks ago. And again, I can learn it all, or I can hire people that not only after even if I learned it, they're still going to know it better than me. So let people do what they're good at. And what I'm good at is more on the franchise development. Like, I love sales. That's my background, is the sales side, the raising capital side, the business side, the entity structures, all of that stuff. And then I stick with what I'm good at, and I let other people stick with what they're good at.
And you have the confidence to, you don't mind, they always say about having smarter people in the room than, or you're not the smartest person in the room kind of thing. I don't, my perception in knowing you, for the last year or so is that doesn't bother you. You hire people with.
Well, if you're the smartest person in the room, then how are you? Who are you learning from?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to learn from yourself. That, that's no, if you're the smartest person in the room, I think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell me what's big. Give me a highlight. We talked a little bit about surprises and some of the problems, and you got to roll with it. What have been some of the highlights? Share some of the really cool things that have been going on or that have happened.
Selling franchises is again, just a sales background. That's been great to do. And seeing these brands that a company, one guy owns 85 guys, another guy owns 5 Roxbury's, another guy owns a handful of Firehouse Subs, and another person owns a few dozen Dickey's barbecues or Zaxby's, whatever. And seeing these people that own existing franchises come in and look at this model that we've created and say, this is the most simple food concept we've ever seen. That's exciting, because I'm like, yes, that's what we're going for. We're going for simplicity, for quality control, to really allow anybody to do that, which is one of the main goals of Dirty Dough, is to lower the barrier of entry to entrepreneurship and say, hey, here's a business that you can own, and the game plan's written for you. The upfront cost is half of the competition. The labor is half of the competition. You never need a mixed cookie dough, right? So you don't need to be an expert. So we're trying to make it as dummy proof as possible. And the feedback that we've received, when it's like, yeah, it's been hard work, I didn't think it was that cool of what we've done. And then, we see all these other people buying our franchises that own dozens of other franchises and just stoked on our model. And that's definitely been a highlight.
That really validates the brand. When people in the franchise industry that get it are the first ones on your, knocking on your door, lining up to get in. That's again, for my audience, that's an incredible endorsement. That's an incredible endorsement of what Bennett's doing. So transition there, you're talking about franchise sales. Who are you? You've mentioned some that you're looking for, but do you have an ideal? Do you have a profile? Do you have a geography that you're targeting to open? Tell us a little bit more about who you're looking for, geography wise, maybe where you're targeting, so that our viewers who are potentially buyers of franchises, that they, maybe they see themselves, or they know you're not the right one of the two.
Yeah.
But
So our average franchisees bought 4 units. So we have 50 franchisees with 200 stores sold. So we definitely rather deal with people, right, that are getting multiple units, that have franchise experience, and particularly food experience. That's the ideal client, right? Now, does that align? And when we sell, because we're building this to sell, that is going to give us the greatest valuation. That's not what I'm after, though. I am truly after lowering the barrier of entry to entrepreneurship. So I can't just say that if I'm not letting a mom and pop person come in and buy
Yeah.
a single location. So
Yeah.
we are allowing that. We really didn't for our first maybe 100 stores that we sold, because I wanted more stores open. Now we have 7 up in operation, another 2 opening this week. And it's like, okay, we're refiling our FDD. We're showing a new item 19 this week, which looks way better than what we've been selling the first 200 stores off, which will only boost sales. And we're letting in more and more people as we prove out the model, because that's what I'm passionate about. Not about getting a little bit higher of a multiple, right? It's, am I taking somebody that never thought they would own a business, giving them a business that's semi-passive and has the ability to weather recessions. Mrs.
Yep.
Fields has been around for 45 years. Great American
Wow.
Cookie Company, 45 years. That's cool. Jill, our CEO, her company's been around for 39 years now, and she's had franchisees stick with her for 39 years. I'm like, that's cool. That's generational wealth. That's what I want to give people.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that has got to ring true with a lot of folks looking to get into business for themselves. A lot of a lot of folks are at a place where they don't necessarily, I mean, they want to continue to make good money or build wealth, but they've already done it. They need more of a purpose, and that generational wealth is, I talk personally about trying to live with a 4-generation impact, meaning my grandchildren's grandchildren. And you've probably heard me say that. So, well, really cool. Last thing I always ask folks to answer is, and you can talk about anything you want, but you've got a captive audience here. Is there anything I haven't asked you about, or anything, again, knowing that you have potential buyers on here, fellow emerging brand founders, brokers, anything we haven't talked about that is a message for our audience that you'd like to be sure that you don't leave without sharing?
Yeah, I would be very clear on your purpose. So this is general. I'm not speaking to any one person, but I've been going through a personal journey myself for the last so long, of like, what am I after? Like, I had a company, made great money, sold it, and then I'm like, but I'm still working nights and weekends. Like, what was the point of working hard to get the payday, to have the real estate, if I'm just gonna sacrifice time with my family forever, right? And that's when I like hunker down. I'm like, okay, who am I, right? What are my core values? What is my mission statement? When I die, what do I want people to remember me by, right?
Yep.
That I had a cool cookie company that I sold for a lot of money. That didn't get me excited. That I had a cool cookie company that I educated millions of kids on how to be proactive with their mental health, leading more people to more joy and more fulfillment. That's what gets me excited. That's why I love my job. And it really was, I had to separate it. And, what is my mission statement? My mission statement is to find joy and fulfillment despite life's dirtiness in myself and others. So how can I be happy? How can I be fulfilled despite life's dirtiness? Do not wait for life to be perfect to experience joy and fulfillment. You got to focus on yourself first, then help as many people as possible. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm always going to be about, for not just Dirty Dough, anything I do going forward. And then I had a core values that align with that, or that, I guess, that support that. And then I have 2 pillars of how I'm achieving it. One is the mental health push. And then 2 is lowering the barrier of entry to entrepreneurship, which has given me a lot of joy and fulfillment. So, like, take a step back. What do I want out of life? Why do we want to be in business? It all, money's the easy answer. Okay. I want money because I want free time. Well, why do you want free time? Well, free time means time with my family. Well, what does time with your family mean? Why do you care? Why do you want to be with your family? I feel good when I'm with my family. Oh, so you're happy. Okay, cool. How about just go be with your family now and be happy? You don't
Yeah.
need the money. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can figure it out, but you need to ask yourself those questions to really dive deep into what makes you happy, what you want, what makes you feel fulfilled, and how to get there. Not just the artificial, like, oh, I need money or I need time. Like, no, dig deep and define what you're going for.
Yeah.
That's my piece of advice.
That is awesome. Yeah, this morning in my own devotionals, one of the questions was, "What gives you real joy?"
Mhm.
And you're right. You can make money at a lot of different things, and that's not solely going to give you the joy. And I, honestly, I think your purpose and your mission is very attractive. And again, if folks want to reach out, the best way to get a hold of Bennett is the BennettMaxwell.com. If you want to find out more about his purpose, you want to find out more about his brand and his meteoric growth in this new crazy company he started. Again, BennettMaxwell.com is the best way. Bennett, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Don.
We're a wrap.